This is a U.S.-China media brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center.
在我们合作的这个四方呢，我们有不同的角色。那么这个角色呢，就是政府的角色，不再是去提供服务，去贯彻一些服务，而是呢给社区一些资金的支持和去监督一些服务，然后去评估，那么使社区服务更加有效地符合这个社区的需求。
So by doing this collaborative way of community building, we emphasizing a new roles to be played by each partner. For the government side, it's no longer to control, or ideally shouldn't control community work. Instead, the government should provide financial support and also other administrative, other support like administrative support of our project.
那么社区居委会呢，它不再是就是去完全的执行政府的工作，去做一些行政性的一些事务，而是呢更多的去了解社区的需求。
And this part that doesn't exist in American setting is called the Community Residence Committee. At each side, probably ranging from 500 to 1,000 households, they organize such a committee. This committee, on paper, is autonomous, but actually all the working staff in this committee are paid by the government, and the major leaders are appointed by the government. Therefore, they are mainly report to local government. So in this, therefore, in this model, they wanted the community residence committee to play a new role, that is, reporting back to the community members instead of just carry out orders from local government.
那么同时呢，我们在发现需求以后，我们也希望能够对那些目标群体，就是需要帮助的那些群体，然后对他们进行一些讨论，使他们自己呢能够组织起来，使他们能够成为不仅仅是一个受益者，而且是一个行动者。
Also, we decided the best way is once we located a targeted community members or groups, meaning the people we want to provide a service, we want to turn them into participants instead of just the beneficiaries. So in that way, they could get directly and actively involved and making their own contributions. This is the other partner that is a new role for them to play.
那么SSCA 就是我们这个机构。那么作为一个 NGO， 我们在这里面的角色主要是协调各利益关系，然后呢就是进行能力建设。
So at the top is our group, and our main role is to coordinating, negotiating, and cultivating collaborative relations among all these other partners.
我给大家介绍几个我们的试点的案例。那么
So
首
in
先
the
呢，
following, I will briefly introduce several case studies by which I can demonstrate that collaborative, multi-partner collaborative model.
那么这是最早在04年的年初的时候开始的第一个我们的合作伙伴，就是宁波海曙区的政府。那么在这样的一个合作的这个项目里面，我们主要是强调了这个公共空间的建立。
So the first case demonstrates that this is in a community in Ningbo, a middle range city in southern part of China, about 300 kilos away from Shanghai. And here what we emphasize is the critical importance to find, if not to cultivate, open up a public space in a community. That was our focus during that particular project.
那我们在北京为什么选择宁波呢？因为宁波离北京还是很远的。那么主要是因为这里的这是当时的一个副区长，他是一个有改革精神的政府官员，他愿意做这样的尝试。
So one important thing is to find a point of entry. In Ningbo, we selected this community because there's this particular individual who was a deputy director in that district, in that city, who had very bold ideas to experiment in community building. That's one major reason we selected this community.
但是那个时候呢，我们需要我们自己有资金，然后去和政府合作。那么所以呢，我们的资金的出资方是百花研究会，美国的一个机构。
But also, since this is a thing that nobody have ever tried before, and the government wouldn't want to do it unless it's very beneficial to them. In that way, we couldn't ask the government at that stage to support us financially. We need financial aid. We need to bring the money in. That's also why critical we had this support from Wildflowers Institute, the NGO group I mentioned earlier on, which is based in San Francisco.
我们和百花研究会在海曙区合作的项目，主要是发展自下而上的社区服务和以核心文化为导向的这样的社区的一些项目。
So in this Qinghua project, under the influence of Wildflowers theoretical framework, we focus on two things, and these two things I think Jishem and Marian are very familiar with. One is to promote a bottom-up, inside-out approach to get all these partners together. Second is to search and identify some core cultures in the community by which to link community members together. Therefore, you can build up a public space. All these two are the key notions of Wildflowers framework in community building.
为什么要以核心文化为导向？是因为如果这样子更能够把我们的一些居民给凝聚起来。所以呢，我们最开始的时候呢，就是在一个外来人口集中的这么一个社区，我们在那里呢建立了一个以核心文化为导向的新老居民的融合。这个核心文化就是我们的传统的节日，就是粽子节，还有我们的中秋节。
And this slide shows one of the projects we did. The key point at that project was how to bring the urban residents together with, and also the new immigrants, or migrants, they call them migrants, rural migrants in this community together. Because they're due to official institutional arrangement, which some of you guys are very familiar with, that's called the hukou, household registration system that separate urban from rural from the urban sectors, and the rural residents, when they moved into cities, they were treated as secondary citizens, literally have no rights to claim public service. Therefore, they were regularly discriminated by urban residents, even in terms of their everyday life manner, their culture, so on and so forth. Therefore, what we did was to try to identify something that the urban residents share with migrants. For instance, to celebrating some traditional Chinese festivities, and in that they do certain food. This is commonly shared. Doesn't matter you are urban or rural person. And once we found them, we bring the two groups together, so they are begin to have a mechanism to understand each other.
The preceding copyrighted program is a property of the University of California, Los Angeles. All rights reserved. It may be used freely for educational and not-for-profit activities. For other uses or to make an inquiry, please contact the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA.